In running rivers, we use eddies to the side for launching, for scouting downriver. They can be big, they can be small, they can be fast. And this video will look at the techniques for going in and out of eddies. The main current is indicated by the blue arrow, and then sticking out from the bank is an obstruction, and that creates an eddy with its own eddy line. Eddies are incredibly varied. This one is flat and very calm and very little recirculation, brilliant for working with beginners. And as we look back upstream, we can see the eddy line there and the extent of the eddy that I'm actually sat in to enable me to look at the group. But not all eddies are as friendly. Here the current's been pushed to the far bank. And the eddy is powerful and recirculating. The eddy line is full of boils and miniature whirlpools, and in fact water is boiling up in the centre of the eddy. The recirculation is really strong. Coming into the top of the eddy would be quite difficult because you're fighting the flow coming out of the eddy. So we're going to take an eddy here. We've got some speed, we've got an angle, more speed to drive us in, and the boat is edged. That's lent to the inside of the turn. So why do we go in and out of eddies? Well, normally they're the easiest way of getting on or off, in this particular instance, of a whitewater river. Here's the ramp up to the car park. We could equally well have launched here. It could be a place that we gather up the group before we move on down, or a place to get out and maybe, or from the boat, look downstream to see where we're going next, or maybe to get out and scout a rapid. This section has a whole series of eddies. But we do have a target eddy. We need some speed to drive us forward. We need an angle to cut into the eddy. And finally, the boat needs to be edged. What in North America is very often known as a jailing. Note that in this first example we're not using any strokes to turn the boat. All of the turn is caused by crossing from the current over the eddy line and into the eddy. The boat will naturally turn. So strokes we can add into that to tighten the turn, open the turn, stabilise the turn. Same eddy, speed, angle and edge into the turn. But here Lena's doing a cross deck by rudder to tighten the turn, often known in North America as a cross defect. This is a tidal rapid on the Menai Straits. I've eyed up the rock. I can see the eddy line coming off of the rock and the eddy beyond it. I need speed, and it's increasing. The water is increasing in speed. Here we go, across the eddy line and turning onto the correct edge, leaning into the turn. Because it's a big eddy, I need nothing further, no paddle stroke. I'm nice and deep in the eddy. If we're going to get into that eddy, we have to have speed and angle. But for stability, we need to be on our edge. So the question is, what happens when we have no edge? Here, two course participants, first really powerful eddy, and they've got good angle, really good commitment and speed, but no edge. They've hit the eddy, bow paddler's doing his bow rudder, and all that happens is, as they slide in, they trip over the water in the eddy and take a swim. So going into the eddy, we lean into the turn. But what about coming out of the eddy? Well, exactly the same. The boat's going to turn to the left because it's hitting the current, so edge the boat to the left. Don't worry about upstream, downstream, the boat should be doing this or that. Whichever way the boat is going to turn because of the force of the water, that's the way you lean. That's the way you edge. It's as simple as that. Coming out of the eddy is one of those powerful places to manoeuvre. And look, both of us have got our target downstream. Nina's really looking downstream with her head and eyes. I'm following her. Here on the River Spey, I'm leaving the group behind in the eddy as I move downstream to check out the next section. Now I'm getting a good view of it. I can see my target eddy. A bit shallow here, hence the strokes as they are. But I've got enough speed, I've got the angle. Drive it in with just a little extra power. Look back upstream to the group. Here on the drone in France, Lena and I are going for an eddy. And an extra stroke here at the back. Lena's pulling the turn, but I'm using my paddle to brace and give us stability into the turn. Speed and angle again, driving for the eddy. But here I want some extra turn, so rather than doing it with a paddle, I put extra edge onto the boat, and that tightens the turn all of its own. As I come out of this eddy, I'm going to take a couple of glances over my right shoulder. There we go. To see where I'm going to go to downstream. I've got a target. Cross the eddy line. Again, the boat's going to turn into the right, so I edge the boat to the right. Still looking where I'm going to go rather than looking at the front of the boat. Pull the final part of the turn. I'm back with the group. I love this particular eddy on the Avon Tryweryn here in North Wales, one of my home rivers. There's a big wave train ahead of me. The water's becoming squeezed and powerful. I've got a target eddy, and the red arrow indicates the diagonal line that I want to take. So I need some commitment, an angle, miss the hidden rock at the top of the eddy, edge into the turn. Boat's done most of the work, and then just tighten up with a cross-bow rudder. Leaving that eddy, good look downstream. There's my target eddy ahead of me. Switch the edges as I need to lean to the right. Because of the bank, I've swapped hands at the last moment. It's not always so straightforward. There you can see the bow's been actually pushed downstream at the last moment. Corrected with stern rudder. Here we go, we've got the view from the boat, and you'll just see that push. Eddy line's ahead of us, but it's really powerful just before you reach the eddy. Wait for it, here's the boat going to get shoved. There's the shove. I'm fighting it with the stern rudder, and we've still got the eddy. And my daughter Maya up front, crossbow rudder to tighten the turn up. And Billy gives his opinion. Working with a couple of customers, teaching them to be aggressive through the corner of waves into eddies. There's the line they need. Speed, angle, edge. And once they're in the eddy, the boat does the work for them, and it's great fun.
That was fun.
My local river in high water, hence it's very brown. There's my target eddy. Driving towards it, so I've got speed. Got an angle already. You can see the eddy clearly. Here we go. I've got to switch edges at any moment. Here goes the switch. It's a shallow eddy, so I needed the crossbow to pull it round into the turn. Hi folks, I hope you found that interesting and helpful. And what you can do is you can press like, you can subscribe, and comments are always welcome. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a link in the description below for buymeacoffee.com. My own book Canoeing is available directly from myself, but there are links in the description below for easy buys in North America or the rest of Europe. Thank you for watching, and thank you for the support.